Hi, I'm Dan from Maptek, and today we're going to take a look at some of the improvements that we've made to the manual domaining process in GeologyCore 2022.1. So in earlier videos in this series, Richard's already covered sort of the basics of getting your Vulkan data into GeologyCore and data manipulation. So I won't spend too much time on that. I'm going to jump straight into the manual domain flagging workflow and some of the new tools we've got in GeologyCore 2022.1. So I'm going to start by opening the domain manager. I'm going to create a manual domaining group. I'm going to select the drill holes that I want to work off of. Now I'm going to cheat in this scenario and use the populate domains from drill holes to generate my domain list for me from an existing geocode field. And in this scenario, I don't want to run any of these automatically generated rules. By default, it's done that. I don't want any of that, but I am going to flag everything as waste as a starting point. And then I'm going to use a post-processing modifier. And so the one I'm going to use is this new one called split by table. So by default, GeologyCore is going to combine adjacent intervals of the same domain. In this scenario, I don't want it to do that for me. I want to maintain the intervals from my existing assay table. So I pick that as my primary table. Now, I can pick a secondary table. You don't have to, but it's there as an option. I'm not going to define any visualization changes for the drill holes because I want to set those how I want to see them. So I'm just going to run domaining and it'll flag my waste for me. And one of the big improvements we've got for GeologyCore 2022.1 is this switch to manual flagging mode or flag intervals mode in the domain manager itself. So if we do that, we get a more streamlined version of the domain manager that allows us to quickly and easily manually flag domain intervals. So I'm going to dock this over here so it's out of the way. So the next step is I'm going to open up the visualization panel. I'm going to create myself a new visualization spec. It's going to allow me to recall this later. So in this scenario, I want to see my drill trace and I don't want any collar labels. And I'm going to pick my drill hole database. Now you can see we've got our new domain field or the new domain table that I made and the domain table in there. So I definitely want to see that. So I'm going to add that to the grid. I probably want to see my gold. I want to see my copper and perhaps my geocode field. I want to show my drill trace by gold and I want a label of that on the right. By default, it's picked my drill hole gold legend, which is good. I'm going to label my copper on the right as well. Geocode is going to be on the left and that can be a label as well, so I might jump that up the list. And I want my domaining on the left-hand side as well. This one I'm going to use the flag and label. This is just going to make it a bit easier to see what I'm changing. And the higher up the list, the closer the label is to the drill trace. So I'm happy with this. I'm going to apply that to my current selection, which is my entire all 77 holes in my drill hole database. So I'll apply that. I can close that panel. Now I'm going to create myself a quick 2-point section across this fence of drill holes. Make sure that my width down here is set to 10 and we are good to go. When we go into manual flagging mode, by default it's usually going to set it to select intervals or edge selection mode for us. And we've got a couple of different ways we can kind of select stuff in here, but the default one is this sort of rectangle selection mode. In that scenario, I can just select the intervals that I wish to change. So you can see at the moment, this is flagged as waste. So I might want to say that well, this is actually TQ1. So you notice it's changed down here that I can flag TQ1 in that drill hole. And you can see it'll change my domain flag for me. So I can sort of continue doing that for different holes as I want. One handy shortcut that I'll emphasize here is Control Spacebar will deselect everything from your current selection. It'll be really handy and a quick way to kind of get around while you're doing this manual flagging. So another method I might want to use is this freehand selection mode up here. And that allows me to draw whatever sort of shape that you want. Now in this case, I've accidentally picked a interval that I don't want. So if I press down the Control key, I can deselect that one. Now this one I'm going to set as TQ8. So I just pick that from the list, flag the domain, Control Space, and away I go. Got some 1A. I've missed a few, so I can hold down Shift and select some more. TQ1A, flag that, Control Space. Hold down Shift, I can select some more. Control Space. And you just keep going with that until you've flagged everything that you're happy with. Join me in the next video and we'll go through how we can take this data once we've finished flagging everything as we like, and we can use the flag drill holes to make some vein models in the vein modeler. Thanks.